request to add a video to my YouTube channel from one of our past projects. We built a retaining wall and garden bed using free pallets. Pallets we just got for free from people that were getting rid of them. At the time, I wasn't focusing a lot on my YouTube channel, and so it's going to be more of a picture slideshow because I did take pictures just for fun for our progress along the way. But I'll show you what we did and how we did it, and talk you through the process. When we moved into this house that we live in, our backyard fence, the neighbors behind us are about 3 feet higher than we are, and there was a major slope from the fence. And the dirt had basically started to slough down that slope. And on some points of the fence, you can actually see the cement where the fence posts go in and they cement them in the ground. The dirt had sloughed away so much you could actually see the cement that was buried at one point, buried in the dirt. And we knew that was just going to continue to happen, and then we would have issues with the fence. And so we came up with a solution because we were renting. We didn't want to invest a ton of money, and the homeowners didn't want to put any money into it, but we were still concerned about the long-term effects it would have. And so we ended up getting some pallets for free and made our own retaining wall that we also use as a garden bed, as a raised garden bed. So let me show you the pictures, and I'll show you kind of the process of where we started with this backyard and the fence and where we're at today. This is the backyard when we first moved into the house. You can see there was nothing done. And this other picture, I know it's kind of dark, but you can see the sloping on the right-hand side there. That's our back fence. See how drastic that slope was coming down from the neighbors behind us. So this is what we were starting with. We actually also put in the side fences as well, but this is pretty much, now this is down to the corner of the lot. This is where the slope starts to level out, and this area wasn't too bad. But down at the other end, you can see it was a drastic slope, and some of the cement posts were starting to show there. So the first thing that we did was we measured about 3 feet away from the fence line, and that's where the bottom of that slope, that's where we started to dig a trench. We involved our children, which they, suffered child labor laws, they said, but we all got involved. My husband and I helped dig the trenches as well, but we spent a lot of weekends on it and things. We dug these trench all along as long as we wanted this retaining wall to be. And we got a bunch of these pallets free. If you're thinking about doing this, check with some of your local industrial places, warehouses and stuff. They always give away pallets for free. So once we had the trench done, we just basically lined up the pallets inside the trenches. Now these pallets were buried about 12 inches deep because we wanted the wall to be nice and sturdy and solid. And so that when we bring in our topsoil here, they would really hold in place. And again, we had all our kids. That's one thing nice about having a big family. There was many hands make light work, and we were able to get all this topsoil put into the garden. Now, we did lay plastic down about the top third of the soil because we wanted the garden soil to not have weeds. So we did lay plastic down after we had filled it in some. And the dog thought this was the best place to be. As soon as we had the soil in there, he climbed up there like it was his throne, and he was so happy to have that high ground and nice cool dirt. But you can see here in this picture, my husband used small pieces of wood at the seams of the pallets. He screwed each pallet together using this piece of wood. That was to give the pallet a little bit more stability, and it wasn't a perfect line, but hey, it's a free retaining wall, so we did what we could, and we were using child labor, so we get what we get. Basically, once we had our plastic in, we had our topsoil in, that's when we mixed in the soil. We mixed in some wood chips, some manure, some potting soil, and mixed it in really good. And this was our first garden that we planted. This was our very first attempt at a garden. We weren't sure how well it would turn out, but we were pretty happy with the wall being up, and we felt confident that that was a good retaining wall for the issue that we originally had with the back fence. Our first year garden, unfortunately, didn't do too well. Mostly probably my fault because of inconsistent watering. And so this year, this is from this year, my husband was able to climb up there and till the ground really good. We added some more manure in, we added some more wood chips, and he got the soil all tilled up really well. And we also purchased these really cool greenhouse toppers. They just sit on top and they fit perfectly in our little garden area. So with those, we were actually able to plant our garden a little bit earlier. Some of these looked pretty sad. This was before we got our drip system installed. At this point, I realized we just really needed a drip system because I'm horrible when it comes to remembering to water the plants. So once we got our drip system in, our garden just thrived. These greenhouses were really great because we were able to start the garden a lot earlier than we normally would have. But here's another little shot of that, the pallets and how they're connected. There's our drip system my husband put in. And once we had that going, look at the garden. It just exploded and it grew so well. We eventually took off the greenhouse toppers, and as it got too hot, they were counterproductive. They started killing the plants because it was too hot. And then they just thrived. And between this pallet fence and the drip system, we had a pretty decent garden this year. And I have to say, starting with our backyard where we started, it has really come a long way. It's always a work in progress, and we've always got more things that we want to do. We were able to get some of these bricks here again for free, and so we could put together a patio. So this was another progress this summer of, look at that, how big that garden grew. And the pallet retaining wall, I have just loved. My husband wasn't so sure about it when I first approached him with the idea, but now he sees the value of it. And I have to say, this is today, so I went out today and recorded this in the backyard, and I just have to say that having the raised garden has been so nice. You're not bending over as far when it comes to weeding or harvesting any of your garden stuff. Everything is about 3 feet high, and so it has been such a blessing, and we've just gotten such an amazing garden this year. It's starting to get cold, so things are starting to die off a little bit, but I think next year we're going to add even more fertilizer. We were able to also get some free sod. So again, just keep your eye out for these good deals and be ready for them when you get a good deal so that you're ready to go. All this grass that we were able to put in our backyard, that was all free. And we still have more to go. Like I said, it's a project, always in process. But I'm so pleased with how well this pallet retaining wall turned out. And other than some elbow grease and some weekend sacrifices and some kid complainings and whinings, it was free. I guess we did pay for a load of the topsoil, which the topsoil cost us about $125, something like that. So that really was the only investment. That and our drip system was maybe $20 or $30. So those were really the only investments we had to do, and the rest of this was free. I definitely would do something like this again when we move or build our house. This was, like I said, aside from some elbow grease and some time put into it, it was very cheap to do. Anybody can do this. So if you are trying to do your yard on a budget, I highly recommend doing a pallet wall.